All right, I put a coat of primer on all the hardware, and I'm really glad that I took a second to dry fit it before doing finer color or anything else, because I learned something about what I made. So let me zoom in and I'll show you what the scenario is. So here are my hooks, and they work great, right? So they do their thing, they link on, but a couple of them don't. Right here. And I realize it's not the hook, it's that the hole is slightly crooked or has warped a little bit. So what I have to do is I have to grind out a little of that hole so that this can lean in properly. So a little extra work, but I've marked my holes that need to do it. I only have 4. The rest are all good. So I'm glad I did that. Learning about this as I go. So let's paint the final colors and grind some holes. All right, so this is gonna be a weird part that I haven't done on this direction before. Follow me. This is one of my favorite banjos I ever made in terms of sound. It's a wonderful deep gourd banjo. You can see videos of it other places, and this is the one that I built on camera for a class of a build your own gourd banjo class. I intentionally was gonna auction this off after the class was done, but I just like playing it too much and I like the sound, so I haven't sold it. Maybe one day. But I shaved this goat skin while it was on here. So I put it on and then shaved it so it was nice and taut. I'm not gonna do this now. I can't do that this way because of all this fur on the skin that I'm gonna use. So I need to take the fur off before I wrap it all down. And I have a few minutes here before something else, so I'm gonna try and shave this to see exactly what the skin looks like, because there are lots of patterns, and I learned this one I was not very excited about. It's kind of cool, but when you hold it to the light, you'll see it has freckles all on it, which I am hyped on. So we're gonna shave this one and see what it looks like. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so checking in here of what we got. Here is our skin all shaved up. You can see how it lost a lot of its color. Here's the dark stuff up here where it was black and now it's brownish. But I'd really dig it. I got a few others that I think I'm gonna save for larger projects. This one will be good on the smaller scale because I can kind of highlight this area over here. The other ones are kind of speckled all over. I think they'll look bigger or better on bigger banjos. So, also paint update. Here's our lovely little worms. I've got the nuts all white, the hooks all gray, and what you didn't see, like I said, nothing too complex. They're dusted in a primer, and then they are coated in their color, and then they are clear coated. So primer was like a light gray, did a dark gray and a white, and then a coat of clear. So that way it'll touch up and be a little more protected than just the straight paint alone. But yeah, they should be all right. So we can take the hooks out of this piece of board here, or foam core, and move forward. I think the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try and sand a little bit of the edges off this skin. It's a pretty thick skin. It'll work well, but there's a couple of thick spots on the sides, and I'm gonna test to see if I can sand the back of it off. Just a bit. But after that, we'll move on to the next things. All right, nothing really fancy going on here. Here is my tension hoop. I'm leaving this here to make sure I have the right dimension. I'm gonna be using some fencing, galvanized fencing wire that I've used in the past for a lot of sculptural stuff that I teach through. And we're just gonna use my ring roller here to get it to the right dimension to match our tension hoop. So this stuff is more flexy, so it'll probably come out smaller. Let's see. Now most people would run this through the ring part, like little round part, but I actually want that knurled texture on here since this is gonna have to grip that skin. You had a feeling it would turn out small. Let's see. Ooh, just a little bit. Can make that work. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna flex this out just a hair, and all I'm gonna do is snip it and weld it, snip it and weld it, and we should be ready for our trial run. All right, so I've got a weird idea. Here's the idea. I don't know exactly how this is gonna work because on a normal banjo I have different circumstances and it's a little more predictable. With this one that I'm stretching a goat skin over, not say I have one shot, but I kind of have one shot. Once it's wet and I start stretching it and I have to cut it, I don't want that to be my dry run, but I don't know how to do a dry run with this scenario. Because this is not a standard size, it doesn't take a standard size head that I can use. So what I've come up with is the following. I'm going to use a pretty thick trash bag just as a light first trial run. So I'm going to drape that, put my flesh hoop over it, run it under my tension hoop, cut it off, and then add my hooks and nuts and make sure it kind of goes down smoothly. Yeah, so we'll try that real fast. And then we'll learn what to do and what not to do with this setup. Oh, shoot. Okay, I gotta make one more thing. I realized that this is gonna be metal directly on this clay, so I need a washer of some kind to go around these things. So I'm gonna cut some moleskin washers for the tops of the nuts. That's the plan. That way it gives a little cushion and a little friction break and no grinding on the metal to the clay. So let's do that first. Then we're gonna do my middle of the night idea dry run trash bag situation. See how that goes. All right, we're gonna try this. I'll be moving around a lot, so if it goes in and out of focus, whatever, just forgive me. But I have my hook, my nuts, my little washers you just saw me cut, which weren't even long enough for a banjo song, because it's just an amazing tool. Anyways, I think everything I have is right here at hand, so we'll go ahead and get started. This may also be embarrassing, I may never show it, so we'll see. So flesh hoop, I'm just walking through my brain. Flesh hoop, tension hoop, bag, all my gear. Okay, let's do this. I was hoping to use the trash bag afterwards, but I don't think it'd be able to work that well with all that extra. So all of this will go up. All right, normally I'd trim this in really tight, but we're just looking for a test here. So it sticks out, that's okay. So I guess we'll just start over on one side here. Well, we're learning the first thing. We gotta go further down than I thought. myself to show this. Well, let me get 2 more on here. Around the bend over here. Well, I think that's enough for proof of concept. I think that that's going to be great. The 2 things I need to do that I am not excited about doing, I need to, what's that? Oh. These fell off and they were like propping themselves up over here. So the thing I need to do is I need to, there we go. I need to now scribe the neck. That's the other reason I wanted to do this, is now I know exactly where this is without having the skin on it. This is fun, man. This is gonna be so cool when it's all done. I got distracted, sorry. Now, the other thing that I was very grateful for in the middle of this was something that I think is, man, God's provision. I don't know your belief system, but how funny is this? So you can get this. When I first made these, I notched them out, and I notched them out for the width, the width of this metal band. And I was like, oh man, I did more work than I needed to, because they're gonna sink down in there by a good 3/16 of an inch or something. And so I'd wasted all this material and all of that time on the mill. So I was kind of bummed that you'd see all that, but I didn't account for the flesh hoop sticking out the same distance. So when this goes down, if we can see that. Now you can't see it. That little notch fits just over the flesh hoop. So that 3/16 that I went down into the tension hoop is taken up by the 3/16 of the, or 1/8 of an inch or whatever, of the flesh hoop. So if I hadn't have done that, I would have been remilling all of these to fit over that. So, man, praise God, that's awesome. So, yeah, these will be getting good. So I've got some of these in place, tighten it up a little bit. Looks good in black. Anyhow, so now I'm gonna put just a couple more on there. I can fit the neck in exactly, so I can measure out. These keep dropping out as they loosen up and tighten up on the sides. Wrong way. There we go. And so now right here, I can mate that neck and see what I need to cut out of it. So I'm gonna put just a few more on, and then I'll fit the neck. And then we can do the skin. And the list keeps going. So, step 1, finish off these and put on the neck. All right, so the dry fit went well. I'm glad I put all the hooks on with this trash bag situation. Not only for this fit, but I found one spot that would have been a pain to work with, and that's right here. This one nut, the hole kind of leans in just a little bit to where the nut spins down on the hook, but then as soon as it hits the corner, it doesn't spin anymore. It gets caught. So I want to grind out some of the clay right there in the corner so that it can spin freely. Every other one of them works fine. So now that we've got this all set up, we can see what we're working with. I can scribe out my neck, and once I get that scribed out, I can put on the actual skin and sink it down. So let me do some fiddling with that one little spot on the nut, and then should be able to do it for you. All right, it's go time. So I have my skin soaking in water. I have my flesh hoop here. I have my tension hoop here. Hooks, nuts. I'm just going through the list for myself. Washers, everything else. Whew. Say a quick prayer. Let's make sure this works. So I have that where it needs to be. I got my skin soaking. Smells like wet goat dog, like it should. I'm just wringing it out down here off camera. Okay. Okay. This is gonna be pretty. So I'm not gonna be too particular. At least I don't think I am. I might change my mind about where this is. I love all these speckles on here, but not everything's gonna stay, so I'm just trying to get a nice little pattern of them that'll be there. Nice little variety. And I don't know if I want the white on the top. I think I want the white on the bottom. Or do I want the white near the front? Should have figured this out earlier. There's gonna be a tail piece there. One near the bottom. One near the top. No, I like the white near the head. Okay, so I'm gonna put it up here. Making sure I have enough to pull over. Try to get all the wrinkles out of this. Okay. Make sure I got it lined up the right spot. All right, she's on. No sense in watching me do this for much longer. I'm just gonna go around and tighten these up, and then once I can get them all hand done, really nice and tight, I'll flip it over and kind of tighten them traditionally. So I'll go like star pattern, you know, and tighten it all up, just like a drum. So we'll cut this off here. I'll show you when it's all done up, but it's looking good.